Let's zoom in on this because a lot of people don't understand the concept of like a management buyout. So I see Bill and Sarah, they're running a laundromat.
Yeah. Well, here's a real life example. A real life example from a friend of mine is called Kit King. And basically he approached someone who had that business. They built it up to, I think, a few million. And then the guy was ready to retire. When he walked in, the orders would get printed out and put onto a spike. And spike number 1 was like, this is an order. And then when it was fulfilled, it goes onto the fulfilled spike piece of paper. And then, this young guy comes in and he digitizes the business and he gets all the automated order thing flowing. It cost about 25 grand to get in a specialist who could do all of that. And then he basically re-engaged the team. The team were totally unengaged. I think there's about a dozen people and they'd not had a team meeting in ages. There was no vision for the business. They'd not gone and spoken to customers in forever. And then he comes in, goes and talks to customers, starts hosting some online events, starts sending out messages, starts digitizing, builds a bit of the brand. And that business has, I think, grown like 500% in like 2 years. It's massively successful, but he started with something that had been going for 30 years.
In that example, you don't necessarily need any money.
No. This was no money down.
So you can create a multi-million pound business theoretically starting with zero money.
Remember that money's just a database. So it's a database of the value. So what you do is, like if I want to buy a house, I go to the bank and they lend me the money to buy the house. If I want to buy a business, the person who already owns the business is probably the most likely person to see the value in funding the business. A bank probably won't, but the person who is selling it. Let's say I go to Bill and Sarah. I say, look, there's no question your business is worth 1.2 million. I don't have 1.2 million. I have a little bit of money that I'm going to invest into the business to grow it. Can I pay you the 1.2 million over 6 years, 7 years? And what we will do is, this is my business plan. You will be the board members, chairperson of the board, and the business will be the security for that loan. So if we screw up and we can't make our payments, you take the whole business back with everything that we've thrown at it, everything that we've done at it. You'll be able to take it back and sell it to somebody else if we skip our payments. So you're securing the purchase of the business with the business itself. You're doing a business plan where it makes sense that the business could make the payments. Now, think about it from Bill and Sarah's point of view. They've got this thing that's driving them crazy. They want to retire. They want to go south of France. They want to go spend time with the grandkids. And now someone's coming along and saying, yeah, we're going to pay you 120 grand a year for the next 7 years.
And if we don't, then you get your business back.
And if we don't, you get the business back.
And if they believe you, which is the key part, if they believe in your ability to execute, because...
And if there's no one else offering anything else, they believe you and there's no other options, it's a great deal. Now, here's a crazy thing. 65% of the value of all business equity in the economy is owned by baby boomers right now. So if you were to throw a dartboard at all the valuation of every company in the UK or the USA, there's a 65% chance that you hit a baby boomer. Right? So it's incredible. Now, all of those businesses have to be passed on somewhere. Now, all of these young people, they all want to have the latest psychedelic startup or something like that. And they're like, oh, I don't want the elevator repair business that does 8 million a year. It's like, go get involved in that, right? So that's a huge opportunity. Massive.
The arbitrage and the opportunity here is boring businesses.
Boring businesses that you can bring something to it. You can digitize it. You can make it interesting. You can create a culture that's exciting. The thing about a boring business.
Boring boomer business.
Boring boomer business, right?
I said that first.
Right? That's
my next book.
Get the
so
URL.
I said that first.
Trademark.
Yeah, could you guys grab the URL?
Wait a second, I'll get my phone. So the boring boomer business, the BBBs, a business can be exciting. It can do a boring thing but still be an exciting business. The way you run the team and the culture, the money that it spits out can be exciting. You can use that business to sponsor a charity. I've got a friend and a client called Sebastian Bates. He's got an amazing martial arts school that's in the UK and Dubai called Warrior Academy. And he's used he's very profitable. He's now set up martial arts schools in Kenya, Nepal, all of these different areas that are struggling areas now have a martial arts academy. He set up his own charity and he's basically doing martial arts schools for kids who have never had anyone look out for them. They're often street kids and homeless kids. They come into martial arts and they get taught life skills and martial arts and confidence and character. But the point is you can take a boring business And the way that you run it, you can launch a charity associated with it. You could hire young people who are coming out of prison and give them a second chance to get started. And that could be part of the excitement of the business. There are so many ways to make a boring business an exciting business. Most of the times, Bill and Sarah have given up on that. They're just, they've been doing it for 20, 30 years. They're not fresh. And the business has been in decline. Anyway, that's a huge opportunity, massive, way bigger than starting something new. Like if I was starting from scratch, that's probably actually where I'd probably start.
It's so funny that never dawned on me. When I was penniless in Manchester, and I was very persuasive, but my strategy for wealth creation was to pitch a brand new tech company because I'd just seen that social network movie with Mark Zuckerberg. Whereas really I could have just, as you said, gone for Bill's business and presented a young, fresh, digital, social first vision and mitigated his risk by...
And even if you wanted to do Social Chain, you could have started by buying a marketing agency that was already doing 2 million. That's high watermark was 4 million, and it's halved over the last 6-7 years. But it still has a core team, and it's got a 20-year reputation, and it has a contract with AWS, and it has a contract with HarperCollins. And it's like, oh yeah, we've got all these things in place. You buy that business that's doing 2 million as a starting point, and then you say, now I'm going to do Social Chain on top of that. So now you go from 2 to, whatever. But rather than starting from absolute scratch, you could actually start with a couple of million of revenue just by going in and doing a deal with someone who's already got a starting point.